Hey guys, I'm up here at a mini split right now, and we just have a little bit of a, well, it's low in refrigerant, and it's very obvious where the leak is, and it's very common on mini splits. The flare fitting leaks, and what happens is over tightened whenever it was installed, and there wasn't a pressure test done and so forth, and you know, from that day forward it's always going to leak. You just can't put freon in and expect it to go away. It just don't work that way. Best way to do it is once the flare is squeezed, the copper is your actual gasket, so therefore if you try to just tighten it up, it's going to squeeze the copper even more, and then you still got a leak when you leave, and customer still will have a low freon in about 3, 4, 5 months, a year. It depends on how big the leak is. But anyway, I'm gonna show you what we got. All right, so right here is, I mean, I can tell there's oil on it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pump this thing down. I've got it in the cooling mode now, so I'll show you exactly how we're gonna handle this thing. I'll take that off, put my adapter on. Make sure your adapter's tight. If your valve cores don't depress, then I'll try to do this one-handed, but regardless, I can do it. Got it in the cooling mode. Alright, that's on. Got my valve on. And you can definitely tell we're low in gas. I mean, we're reading, gosh, 20 pounds of pressure. This thing's hardly got any gas in it. So, lucky it hadn't caused any other damage. I'll pull these caps off. And in the cooling mode, refrigerant runs through here. This is your metering device. It goes this way through the air handler and then back. So to pump it down, I'm going to close the top one. I'll watch my gauge. Once it hits 0, which it's almost at, I'll close my bottom one. All right, it is pumped down. Killed my power, and that's it. So now from here and here back is shut down, and I can pull these valves and go ahead and reflare. And all right, now that we got that pumped down, let's see if we can set this up so we can see everything here. And what we'll do is we'll pull this one here off, and you can see somebody put that on extremely tight. So they squeeze that one, so we're going to put a I'm going to put this one back on. And we'll have a backup wrench. See if we can get this off of here. Gee whiz. I'm gonna have to get another wrench. They actually squeeze. So obviously we must have had a problem before and somebody decided just to tighten it up, which you don't do. You got to fix it. Okay. All right, so we're going to pull that line off, and let's just see if we can get some more light here and take a better look at this flare. And see, the flare looks good, but it is extremely thin. So now what we'll do is we'll get our tubing cutter, and on your tubing cutter you have a groove right here, and we'll just put that groove in our flare, and that's what it's made for, is to cut flares off. we'll spin it around. Okay, and that's that. We'll get our light set back up here so we'll have a better light. All right, so here's our old flare that we cut off of there. Very important, don't ever forget to put your nut back on. And we'll get our flare and block. Set it on 1/2 inch, which is this one. And sometimes you got the flare upside down. Everything is not always sitting at a desk or a workbench like they teach you at tech school. Flares are easily made sitting at a bench, but sometimes you're up under cabinets, refrigeration. You could be anywhere making a flare. Alright, so now we're gonna get it in that groove, tighten the flare down. And you might not get a perfect flare every time. You just gotta inspect it, and I always try to make them upside down. That way any shavings of copper will come out. Okay. And this tool right here is a Pro Set. It don't allow you to over torque the flare and squeeze it with the flare tool. If you have a cheap flare tool, it's possible you can squeeze the flare just with the tool when you're making it, and then the flare looks good, but it'll leak. Let's take a look at this one and see what it looks like. Don't like that one at all. So we're going to cut that one off. Try it again. Okay. Now let's try it again. Had a little bit more light, it'd be better, but we just kind of work with what we got. Let's take a look at this flare, see what it looks like. Get some flashlight out so we can take a good look. Very nice. Smooth. The edges are good and smooth. It's not burred. Looks very good. Let's see if the nut goes over it properly. Looks good. We'll try that flare. So now, put the flare on the groove itself, and then tighten your threads. Don't use any type of thread sealer at all. The threads is not what makes your seal. The flare is what makes your seal. From brass to copper, that's what makes your seal. So now we're going to get our torque wrench, and we're actually going to do this the way you're supposed to do it. Is we're going to torque it down. There we go. Let's see if we can move this at a little bit better angle here so you can get a better idea of what we're doing. Pro set. Okay. Now, alright, torque this thing down. There it goes. Okay, just like that. Now that's the right torque. Now we're going to pressurize it and recharge it, and we should be back up in business. But anytime you see oil, it's not your fitting, it's your flare. So don't try to tighten it up and put gas in it. You're going to come back, and just cut your flare off and redo it. Remember, you can always pump these things down so you save the refrigerant. You don't have to do a recovery. And if it's just a little bit of refrigerant, just recover it a little bit in there and weigh it back in. That'd be the easiest thing. You ain't even got to sit there and play with the charge.